So we've got Claire Harrison, who's the founder of Brisbane-based human resources consulting and outsourcing firm Harrison Human Resources. She is an expert in small and medium enterprises and have worked with lots of business owners in helping them understand their HR needs and be able to provide outsourced HR support. She's written a book, which was pretty cool, The Secret Guide to Managing and Motivating Employees, and she's done a lot of case studies of the best places to work in Australia, and the book outlines all of that process. She's also a non-executive director and has served on boards before. I'm very happy to have you in the room, Claire.
I think I'll talk from a business owner perspective. So I've only got a small team of 10 consultants, as well as talking about our clients. So our clients are predominantly SME, private and family-owned businesses. So, you know, a lot of them are going through really difficult times, like Tash talking about being vulnerable. I had a poor woman, a business owner who's been a client for quite some time, crying on the phone yesterday. It's a really difficult time when you're looking at having to cut your team and potentially losing your entire business. So I think, you know, to Tash's point, and also with our team, it is important to have those feeling type conversations in terms of, you know, what people are feeling and supporting them through that. It is a time for that. So really, we're providing a lot of advice and hands-on support about managing the changing landscape, specifically from a workforce issues point of view. So the common issues that we're dealing with are how to cut your workforce costs, while also retaining your best people for when it ramps up, questions around leave entitlement, stand down, redundancy and work from home arrangements. It's really difficult, I think, for business leaders at the moment because it's changing in terms of what they can do. You know, the 4 square metre rule, you know, like just last night, we've had the JobKeeper wage subsidy that has passed through the House of Reps and Senate, which, you know, is great in that, you know, employers who are eligible will be able to receive that $1,500 per fortnight wage subsidy, which I think has actually been a game changer for a lot of our clients that were looking at cutting huge numbers of people. Now will no longer have to do that. So we had people that were looking at having to cut employees, but unfortunately some of them didn't even have the money to pay out the redundancies that they would have. And so we're talking about things like going into, you know, liquidation. So it's really difficult. So there's 3 main points that I just wanted to cover that we're getting a lot of questions about when it comes to small businesses and also that we've had to deal with ourselves. So firstly, I think it's important to remember the current situation won't go on forever. So it's important to think about what the plan is for when the time is to ramp up, whenever that may be, when the downturn becomes an upturn. So which is why that business continuity planning and specifically workforce planning is so important right now. So before, I've said to clients, before you start cutting staff randomly sometimes and doing blanket cuts or pay decreases, is to really identify who those key people are in your business that you cannot afford to lose. So I think there's 2 categories of those. One is the people, the employees who will help you to regrow the business. And second to that are basically the income or the fee producing type people. So for me, consultants, it's about who are the best consultants that are delivering excellent client service and have high billable hours. For someone like an engineering company, we have a client that they have great difficulties finding specialised robotics engineers who develop basically the IP. They do their inventions. So, you know, for them, that's key talent that you don't want to be getting rid of during this time. They may be more available post, but they're key to your business. In a product-based business, that might be your best sales or your BD people that will be critical for your future growth. So, you know, my advice is to do everything you can to retain these key people because they're the ones you want to be ready for that quickly when the upturn comes. On the other side of that is also, it's a great time to get rid of any fat in your structure and any non-performers that do exist. And, you know, sometimes you can carry them, but I don't think this is the time that most businesses actually can carry them. Secondly, when clients are obviously, most of them looking to decrease their staffing costs, I think it's important to think about it strategically and to have a really good employee communication strategy. So that will include, you know, explaining to your team the current business and financial situation and what that short-term outlook is, so they actually understand what that is, and also obviously recognise the importance and value of the team. And then talk to them about the options that you do have to reduce staff costs, which will be different depending on what your business is, but they may include employees taking leave, reduced wages or hours of work, stand down, and obviously worst case scenario is redundancies. I think Teresa will talk to JobKeeper, but like I said, that's taken a huge pressure off companies to have to do redundancies and layoffs. Plus we've got those PAYG discounts coming through from this month as well. The third area that we're commonly helping businesses with and have had to do ourselves is the work from home arrangements. So the way that I've dealt with that and we've advised clients is, first of all, like you would normally, is to for employees to make an application for their work from home arrangements, which includes signing off the policy if they haven't already done that, and completing a work health and safety checklist for the home office. We added things into that as well, such as child supervision, because a lot of us are going to be in the position we're going to have to supervise children, school-age children at home, while also attempting to work. Then it's really up to you as the business owner or your managers to have those conversations with people about their request. And I think also having some really open discussions about, will you be able to do your same hours of work that you would normally in the office, especially if you have children? What client engagement strategies do we have in place, especially for those client-facing positions? Do they have the necessary equipment, obviously? And is there an adjustment required with children being at home or other considerations that you might have? Then importantly is to document the temporary agreement and include a review timeframe. We've put a month review on ours just to check in to make sure things are working. Another question we get asked that I think is coming up now that people have mostly moved from working from home is productivity. And I think different businesses are used to working remotely more than others. But there's also a huge trust factor that comes with that. So I sort of think it's quite similar to what you would be doing if you had people in the office. So it's about having really clear expectations on what they need to do, their hours of work. We do that through project plans, project schedules. We have weekly one-on-one meetings with consultants, plus we have 3 team check-ins per week. We get client feedback, and we do record our time and activity using Workflow Max, which is basically a job costing and activity reporting system. My final point to touch on the work from home arrangements is to also think about, which I think Tash and Adam have sort of just touched on a little bit too, is the culture and communication that needs to be adjusted to suit a work from home arrangement. So like Tash, we also use MS Teams. We do a daily wellbeing check-in. We've got little symbols that we put up depending on if we're feeling not great, whatever else, and we can just put a little comment besides that. We use it for all our team meetings. We use different channels for knowledge sharing, wins, whatever else is going on. This afternoon, normally on Fridays, we have a virtual happy hour with the team. So that's, more of a social. So I think, and on top of that, we have the usual one-on-ones and the team meetings as well. So there are many employees, and I'm sure we're all feeling it, especially the extroverts amongst us, who are really missing that social interaction, but also the connection that comes with being in a work environment. So I think it's important that everyone reviews the way that we go about leading and managing our remote teams.